Good evening and welcome to another online edition of OU Nightly. I'm Cal Day tonight, again joining you from my hometown of Owasso, Oklahoma. That's because we're still prevented from entering our studios in Norman as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we are still dedicated to bringing you the news on an online platform. And our top story tonight, a drastic drop in oil prices, the price per barrel falling below zero for the first time in history. This morning, oil prices sank to a historic negative $37.63 per barrel. This means oil producers are making absolutely no profit right now. And that is concerning news for energy-rich states like Oklahoma and Texas. The Oklahoma legislature predicts a budget shortfall of around $200 million for this fiscal year, which ends on July 1st. We're talking about money that would come in for state expenses from tax revenue that is tied to the sale of oil. The state could also be short $500 million next fiscal year. This could lead to budget cuts for state agencies unless Oklahoma lawmakers approve moving more money out of the state's rainy day fund. So you may be wondering what is causing all of this. Well, the demand for oil and gas has collapsed so much due to the COVID-19 pandemic that facilities for strong oil are nearly full. And while this does mean lower gas prices at the pump, I did some checking around today, and the ripple effect is a serious threat to the jobs in the state. Already, we know that Sandridge Energy has announced layoffs. Halliburton, also headquartered in Oklahoma City, started laying off last week, and Baker Hughes notified the Oklahoma Workforce Commission its plans to lay off over 200 workers. Now, all of these job losses are planned to be permanent, and it's expected other companies will also be implementing layoffs and furloughs. And as an effect of tanking oil prices, stocks closed out today in the red. The Dow dropped 2.44% today with its worst day since April 1st. S&P closed out at 1.79% decline, and the Nasdaq also dropped 1.03%. Now let's take a look at the latest numbers of the coronavirus cases, something else wreaking havoc not only on the healthcare system but also global economies. And across the globe, there are more than 2.4 million cases of the coronavirus with 169,000 reported deaths. As deadly as the virus is, there have been more than 644,000 people who have recovered. The U.S. is seeing roughly 784,000 cases of the virus. More than 41,000 people have died, and close to double that number have recovered. And here at home, the Oklahoma State Department of Health reports 2,680 current cases of the COVID-19 in our state. 143 Oklahomans have died, and now the University of Oklahoma is working to keep those numbers low. OU Health Services is now offering curbside testing for COVID-19 on the Norman campus. They are able to test OU students, faculty, staff, and dependents over the age of 16. However, you must have a scheduled appointment to get tested, and OU Health Services said results can come back as soon as 48 hours after the test. And with so many OU students hailing from Texas, we want to check COVID cases across the Red River as well. The total number of Texans diagnosed with COVID-19 is just shy of 20,000. The Texas State Department of Health also reports 495 deaths and about 5,700 recoveries.
Good afternoon, Sooners. I'm student meteorologist Martin Lowrimore here with your weather for the start of your work week. Right now, Norm, we're sitting at 73 degrees. Been a very beautiful day throughout the entire state. Those clouds have been a bit of a nuisance lingering across the state, but it has not necessarily broken the mood. 73 degrees is not exactly a terrible place to sit at. Our dew point is in the 50s right now, and that's going to play a very crucial part as we go into the severe weather threat we're going to be expecting tomorrow and on Wednesday. As we look at our current temperatures across the state, again, very comfortable throughout the rest of the state. 70s and 60s, upper 60s to mid 70s throughout the entire state. Very beautiful day, regardless of those clouds. Evening planner tonight, we're going to be seeing those clouds will break up just a little bit, but they still will remain majoritively across the skies. As we get into by midnight, only 60 degrees. We probably won't get into the lower 50s throughout the rest of the night. But the severe threat that we're going to be seeing tomorrow is going to start being fueled as we get into those 80s tomorrow, as we see those clouds will remain, and some across the western part of the state will start bringing in a couple more storms. And as we progress throughout the rest of the day, looking at the severe weather outlook, it will stretch in the central part of the state. Mainly the severe threat for the central part of the state will be late, near midnight actually, across tomorrow. And as we stretch into Wednesday, that severe threat will shift from the central part of the state to the southeastern part of the state, and will stretch across the state as it will intensify in the afternoon and evening hours. As our 7-day forecast, you can see on Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be seeing that severe threat will remain. Now, Thursday, we could see a couple spotty showers and thunderstorms still be in the eastern part of the state. But by Friday, the state will clear out. And by Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be seeing a beautiful weekend. And on the start of your work week, it will remain the same way.
Hey guys, I'm Caroline Grace coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama to give you your daily dose of sports. Now, last night, ESPN finally gave us some new sports entertainment to watch. They aired the first 2 episodes of the 10-part documentary series of Michael Jordan and his time with the Chicago Bulls. It was no surprise that people quickly took to social media to express how they felt about the first 2 episodes. Our very own former OU basketball star Trae Young had this to say. He says, quoting Michael Jordan, "I think it's pretty easy." And current Oklahoma player Davion Harmon said, "Man, MJ was different, and he's wishing tomorrow was another Sunday." I think we can all agree that we wish we could watch more because it is new content. However, not all of the comments on this docuseries were positive. ESPN's own First Take had this to say in regards of how they portrayed Scottie Pippen.
Max?
Molly, to answer your question, yes, I feel sorry for Scottie Pippen. He was obviously, when Jordan retired for those 2 years, the second best player in the game to Olajuwon. He was clearly the second best player in the game. So, when Jordan comes back, he's the third best player in the game.
But Scottie Pippen had a significant, he didn't just have a back story, he also had a back injury. And he was very concerned that it would limit him and that he would actually wind up having a very short career. People forget.
Now, it seems as if we are headed into the clearing of this coronavirus, but no one can be sure. And since we've already talked about basketball players past and present, here's what Charles Barkley has to say about how to stay healthy during this quarantine.
I had to look myself in the mirror and say, Charles, you cannot drink every day, and you cannot eat anything that's not nailed down. That's my personal challenge.
And to continue the trend of Meme Monday, I have some good news. Walmart is not out of toilet paper completely. You just have to look a little harder. Well, that's all I have for you today. From Huntsville, Alabama, I'm Caroline Grace.
Thanks, Caroline. We leave you tonight on a lighter note with a shout out to the Norman Police Department. A Norman organization called Pantry Partners is working with the NPD to make sure weekend food backpacks are delivered to Norman Public School students in need each Friday. The Pantry Partners groups helps operate food banks inside several Norman schools, but due to the COVID-19 crisis, they are operating from one central location, the Norman Masonic Lodge. The officers deliver food to families who may not have the transportation to get to the lodge. A great example of several groups in Norman working together during these tough times. And before we go tonight, one more quick personal note. This is my final appearance on OU Nightly. It's been a very great experience, and I'm so thankful for all the people that I've come in contact with. I'd like to give a special shout out to all the producers, directors, editors, everybody that are the unsung heroes that brings this newscast together every night. It's been a pleasure working with you all. I'm anxious to see what happens next. For the last time, I'm Cal Day. Good night.